to Miami View Women. If you have followed our marathon today, we are double booked. We were just on with Joan Godoy, and now we are on with the fabulous Marilyn Holifield. And why am I saying fabulous? Because once you get to know this woman, you are going to be so impressed by her. We were just having a conversation on the back end, and I cannot wait for you to meet her. And welcome, Miriam Dorset, our producer, our co-hosts are just everything. And it's just a wonderful Friday here at Miami View Women. Also because we are very focused this month on Black History Month. And so there's just so much happening in our community that we'd love to tell you more about. And Marilyn Holifield is going to do just that. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. And it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. As you said, I'm Marilyn Holifield. I'm what they call a senior partner at the Holland & Knight Law Firm, which is an international firm that traces its Florida history back to the 1890s. And in my other life, I am co-founder of the Miami Museum of Contemporary Art of the African Diaspora, affectionately known as Miami MOCAAD.
So to me, so senior partner that's like the top of the top at the law firm, right?
Well, senior partner means that I have worked at the law firm for 40 years, and I've reached a level where I've moved from associate to equity partner, and now I'm a senior non-equity partner, which gives me flexibility to do many things. I'm on the board of the Harvard Board of Overseers. I'm on the board of my alma mater, Swarthmore College. I'm on the board of University of Miami, and I commit a lot of time to Miami MOCAAD. And the senior partner status gives me that recognition of my service to the firm and the profession that allows me to do these other things that benefit the profession on one hand, benefit the community on another, and also benefit our law firm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're giving back to the community. Your position just opens so many doors for the community to really get as much as we can from you and your services. And I'm just girl gushing right now. So I want to just tell our viewers all of the awards that she's won, awards for her legal work, including Holland & Knight's highest honor, the Chesterfield Smith Award in 2000. She was a recipient of the Anti-Defamation League's Jurisprudence Award in 2011, the 2012 National Bar Association's Gertrude E. Rush Award, History Miami's Legal Legend Award in 2014, and the 2019 David W. Dyer Professionalism Award presented by the Dade County Bar Association. So we were having a conversation. I'm like, why are you not in government? Like, why? Right? So you're just amazing. Like, you should be on the forefront of everything. And I'm just so happy to have you here and to hear more about this space that you've created with the museum and what events are coming up and just a little bit more of how that started.
Miami MOCAAD started, and it still is a big dream. And I always like to quote another woman who was the first president of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And when she received an honorary degree from Harvard University, one of the lines in her acceptance speech was, "If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough."
I'm screaming right now.
And Miami MOCAAD is a big dream, but I also think it would be a big gift to our entire community to create a preeminent museum, a preeminent platform to bring together for for our community, all of our diverse communities, the art and the creative genius of the African diaspora. We're talking about art that's created in the continent and its diaspora, Latin America, North America, of course, the Caribbean, and Europe. What people don't really think about that often is that the development of the Western world was intimately dependent on enslavement of Black people in Europe, in North America, the Caribbean, and Latin America. And it was through the accumulation of wealth based on free labor that allowed Western world to advance in the ways that it has advanced. But they don't also realize that there is much genius, there's much creativity in the soul and spirit of people who were once slaves, but who are now wonderful, wonderful participants in our society, the world over.
And the museum is open right now for people to come and go and visit?
No, the museum is still in planning.
Okay.
That's still a big dream.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to kind of wrap my head around this. All right. Because I was like, because I've never been there. And I was like, is it open? Because I want to come down there right now. So this is something that's going to happen.
Right. And we, if you go, our website is Miami MOCAAD, Miami, MOCAAD.org, MiamiMOCAAD.org. And in our website, there's a video of our first exhibit, which was what we call a temporary pop-up exhibit. It was curated by a local curator, Donna Marie Baptiste, and that exhibit featured nearly a dozen artists based here in Miami of the African diaspora, artists whose heritage was American, Cuban, Jamaican, Haitian, Dominican Republic, and it was a taste of the art that we seek to bring to the forefront of Miami-Dade County and indeed the world.
I'm so excited for this. Okay, this is lit.
This is a big dream, Leslie.
So
we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, and just last night, one of my best friends, I was talking to her about empowered women, and because I was speaking with Carolina at length yesterday about the work that we're doing at Miami View Women, and she said, my best friend said to me, she said that history has shown us that the wildest dreams are the ones that get, remembered and acknowledged. And you would never think, the stories along the way of history, when we look at the things that we know, it's always the craziest things that happen. So I 100% am just on board with that whole saying. And I want to know, how can I support this museum coming to fruition? What, I'm sure that you're a planner, what's the plan? Is it 3 to 5 years? How long do we have to wait till the doors open?
I love it.
I'm let's go.
I love it. Well, the thing of it is, there's an old adage that says, think big, start small.
Okay.
And as you well know, I'm not in a position to call up a billionaire and say, oh, this is a project that really you should support. I'm not in that position. But what we can do is generate support from people like you and everybody in your audience. And what we're thinking about doing, part of our plan is to try to expand the reach of awareness about the museum and our efforts. And we are working on what we call a digital preview museum experience. And it will be a digital production that we are planning to be so innovative, so imaginative, so appealing that we can use it to expand our reach, expand our awareness, expand the appreciation for artists that probably most people have never heard of, but they're geniuses. So in the following the adage of thinking big, the museum is a big thought, starting small. We've started small with community meetings. We've started small with virtual creative conversations. We started small with our pop-up exhibit. So our next virtual creative conversation is February 25th at 7 o'clock, Facebook Live, or go to our website, miamimocaad.org, and you may register for a Zoom link to the virtual conversation. The title of the conversation is Gifted and Black.
Oh.
Miami's art scene in 2021 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Some of the questions that you guys put on, because I got to read kind of like the early preview of the show, and I like to just be like, I got a little special thanks to Yvette Harris.
You're a VIP.
Special. I know, I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP, and I'm obsessed with art, by the way. And some of the questions that you guys are going to be asking during this conversation, I was like, this is a not to be missed event, because you already can just tell from the questions, the way that it's framing, that the conversation is going to just go in and bring vulnerability and important topics to light, and kind of coming out of this year of 2020. It's so important. Can you give maybe a preview of some of that stuff for the viewers?
It's so important for people in the creative space to have a platform, because they, and this is my view, they see things that we don't see. They hear things that we don't hear. When they touch things, they feel things that we may not feel. They have a spirit that can inspire. They have a spirit that can provoke. They have a spirit that can reveal beauty, sorrow, sadness, and joy. When we created this platform for this creative conversation, we want the creative types, artists, as well as people who are art professionals, to talk about their experiences in the art landscape here in Miami, to talk about the challenges, but also to talk about the wins. We are here today because we've had big wins, small wins, challenges, setbacks, and then another win. No one who is successful can tell you that they've never had a setback. No one who is successful can tell you that the name of the game is getting up after a setback. We want to also talk about, well, what are people doing now in light of our society's reckoning with what has happened to Black people in this country? And how has our community, how has our society responded with respect to artists among us, and recognized the importance of artists in their role as interpreters of feelings, of events, of our beauty, our ugly moments, our everything. Artists illuminate the world around us. They illuminate history, they interpret. And in this era of reckoning about the contradictions, the racial contradictions in our current state, we want the discussion to talk about that, but we also want to talk about, well, what would be what is your vision for an inclusive art landscape in Miami? What is your vision of a landscape that would validate and confirm and affirm the creative genius that is right here in Miami?
Mm-hmm.
And it spans across communities, it spans across races, it spans across nationalities. It just so happens that in America, for the most part, when you think of the history of Black people, that history has been one that has been very, very harsh in some respects, in a lot of respects, but there have been some triumphs that give us hope. And we're hoping that this conversation will lead us to pathways of thinking how we can not only bring hope, but success and move the ball a little bit further in the direction of inclusion, a little bit further in the direction of equity, and a little bit further in acknowledging the benefits of diversity.
My question to you is, because I'm loving all of this, who are you partnering with, right? I'm inspired, but like, how are you partnering with organizations or nonprofits or privately to kind of expand this knowledge of what you're trying to the message that you're trying to send of inclusivity and the education, and like you said, Black history is American history.
Yeah, I want to know too, because I feel like I'm in the tech scene, but I'm also an artist, and there's a lot of money flowing into the city right now. And I don't think it's too kind of like off the cuff, crazy wild to be like, okay, you want to come and invest in Miami? Cut a check. We need this museum right now.
Absolutely. That's what I love. Music to my ears. Wonderful.
Let's go. And someone tweet Francis.
The thing of it is that we don't want to be a museum where the only thing you do is you come in and you look at art. We want to be known that we are a museum that blends art and technology to create and modernize the museum experience, to expand accessibility, as well as to engage people in ways that they haven't been engaged before. We want to be a museum that has technology in its DNA and that is infused with technology from the very beginning. For example, one of our good friends is the Miami Museum of Contemporary Art, North Miami, known as MOCAAD North Miami. We've partnered with MOCAAD to conduct several what we call Museum Youth Idea Hackathons, where we brought in and we partnered with the Opelika Community Development Corporation to bring in junior high school students from Opelika to MOCAAD, and Edouard Duval Carrier, who's a local Haitian American artist with a global reputation. And he was having an exhibit at the time at MOCAAD. He led the students through his exhibit, and Code Fever provided instructors to guide junior high school students through this hackathon to pitch ideas based in technology to create experiences or to imagine experiences that would appeal to them and their friends. We would love to, and in fact, we're looking for funding for our digital museum preview experience. And so if you know any of those people who could cut a check, that would be great.
Well, I'm certainly going to start mentioning it to everyone I know with money. How much money do we need?
You know what I'm imagining right now is literally classrooms, taking place in this museum. I have an 11-year-old and I just can see her little eyes popping wide and just seeing all this plethora of information being presented to her in such a beautiful and forward-thinking way that can engage an 11-year-old, but also give them so much knowledge and empowerment as to our American history. So I can totally just visualize, history classes from all parts of Miami-Dade, Little Haiti to Coral Gables to, Palmetto Bay, and just kind of all be kind of like this museum being a bridge for all of our communities.
I couldn't agree with you more. And art is such an important component of our cultural history because art interprets history. And I can't wait to send you some of the materials that hopefully you would connect with in terms of museum experiences for children, for adults, that in a very preliminary way touch on the use of technology to make it easy to learn about art, the artists, geography, and history. And I think that I would love to engage you in conversation more long after this show so that
Yes.
you could have a visual understanding, a visual grasp of what we're trying to do.
Where do you have a site identified for the museum?
That's on our checklist of if we had lots of money, the site would be easy.
Yes.
Right.
So the site has been a wonderful journey that has allowed us to discover different parts of Miami. We started looking in Northwest Miami-Dade. We have also looked in the Overtown area, and we're looking in other areas that might have an assemblage of land. And we're open on the site, but we're continuously looking and trying to figure out ways to make a site happen.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I'm so glad we met. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I love to get in on like the planning stages of things because I'm very strategic with my mind.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to send you the slide presentation for our digital preview museum experience and get your reaction to it.
I have to be honest, I feel like the stars are aligned because I feel like this is such an incredibly interesting project that kind of aligns with COVID and everyone kind of being on virtual and being, technology driven and understanding how we can experience art and dance and music virtually because we've had to kind of transfer, right? Transform the way we enjoy art and we enjoy a Friday night. And so I feel like this is something so positive and so beautiful that is coming out of COVID-19. And there are these beautiful stories where we still can enjoy while being safe and just open up minds and kind of have that growth and flexibility. And I feel that COVID has done that with us, right? Like, how flexible are you? What's, how much are you willing to persevere? How are you now going to be entertained? So this is perfection, I think, and everything just aligns with this project. And it's just glorious to me. It really inspires me.
Thank you. Well, we feel that the journey is an uphill journey, but I like to tell the story of one of the co-founders, Hans Ottono, who is a lawyer, and he was the first city attorney for the city of Miami Gardens. and he later became the city attorney for Sunny Isles Beach, and he's now in private practice with his law firm. I mentioned the city of Miami Gardens because when it started, it was just an improbable dream. And it had setbacks before it became a reality. And he loves to tell the story that people said that it would never happen, but it did. The city of Sunny Isles Beach was not what it is today. And it started with a dream to transform it into the beautiful city that it is. Now, Hans has a daughter, and she suffers from sickle cell anemia.
Mm.
She's a dancer, she's an artist, and I tell people that there is nothing more powerful than a father's deep love for his daughter.
Mm.
The inspiration for this museum, in part, comes from his deep love for his daughter, who is an artist, and he would just love to see this museum come to a reality. And I tell people that he never complains that it's going to cost too much money. He never complains that it's too uncertain. He never complains that, oh, it's just too hard. And he never complains about my way too many emails. And so part of our inspiration comes from when Hans approached me and said, Marilyn, I think it's about time for Miami-Dade County to have a museum that is a gathering spot, a museum that Black people can be proud of, but a museum that all of Miami-Dade County can be proud of. And we started this journey in about 2013. And from 2013 to now, we have accomplished, we've accomplished a lot of things. We've spread the message about art of the African diaspora. We've shared art of the African diaspora in our newsletters digitally and also with our in-person exhibit. We've partnered with MOCAAD. We've partnered with the University of Miami Lowell Art Museum. We've partnered with a community gallery in Little Haiti. And we've partnered with the Harvard Afro-Latin American Research Institute. And we've partnered with Miami-Dade County. We've received substantial funding from the Knight Foundation. And I am inspired by the reaction of people who say, it's a big dream, it's difficult, but we're going to do this.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I mean, I totally see it. 100%. SoftBank just came in at what, like $1 million. We'll put their name on a little plaque or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just drop some cash.
Done and done.
And it's really, to me, as an artist who is also Black, you know, my dad is Black, my mom is white, so I'm mixed. But my experience growing up in the United States of America has been that of a Black woman. And I just recently, for example, was in Wynwood, and there was an exhibit at the Wynwood Walls, and it was photos of the artists that have been up at the Wynwood Walls over the years. And I take people to the Wynwood Walls all the time. I enjoy going to the Wynwood Walls. And honestly, the exhibit wasn't about necessarily the people in the photographs. It was about the amazing woman photographer that took the photos and how her contribution to the art community in that way was being shown. But, you know, I took a moment to kind of take in the exhibit, and I was just looking at the faces. 1, 2, not a single one of them looked like me. Not a single one of them was Black. And I go to Art Basel, every year. I go to all the parties that I can. Like, I fully absorb it. I take time off,
Mm.
okay, to really do Basel. And I don't see a lot of people that look like me at these events. And often the art that I see at these events also, it always depicts people of color in a struggle. It's
Mm.
always like, oh, here's this picture of this black woman and she's so sad and hurting. And like, I know that's not all the art that we create. And I
Yeah.
know that that's not the story. And so I'm ready for a museum where we have art from all over the diaspora that celebrates people
Yes.
of
Yes.
African descent, and
Yes.
like
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes.
I can go
Yes.
on and on. I need to get off. This is your show right now because I will literally like just let's go to town with this.
Some of the local artists that will be on the in the creative conversation is a Jamaican artist, Marcus Blake. I believe you may know him.
Fantastic artist.
Adrian Chadwick is an artist, and on our social media, we're going to be featuring the artists and some of their artwork so that people can be familiar with it prior to the conversation. Let's see, we have Denizulu Jean Tenney. We have, let's see, who else? Oh, Atla Gourier. And in fact, when you go to our Instagram, you'll see, or when you see the invitation, it's Atla Gourier's work that is in the invitation.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Instagram page? I want to go to it right now.
I think it's Miami MOCAAD.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and this is one, there's so many great things happening all over Miami right now for Black History Month. This event, I really feel like, is a do not miss by anyone in the community because of the conversation that's going to take place and the artists that are there, of course. But mostly kind of about the conversation that's going to happen, whether you chime in as a listener or as someone who wants to add something to the topic. And I think that people are going to chime in because I've been seeing on LinkedIn as well, like Josie Wilkerson, she's a local writer. She wrote a piece about the new art opening down in Little Havana that was featuring a Black artist. And there are a ton of things going on in Overtown right now for Black History Month. So this is a fun month. Like, this is a great month. And like, as we come circle to the anniversary of our city's shutdown pandemic, I just want people to remember that art makes you feel alive, and our city, Miami, is art. It is life, and it's magical. And so, get out there. You haven't been out in a while, probably. See the city. Like, totally, everything in Wynwood has changed a lot. Like, the graffiti artists have just come back in and like taken over the murals. It's kind of wild. But I'm getting off on tangent. I just want to kind of get that in there.
I would love to plug an art show. It's at the Moore Building. Rosie Gordon Wallace, who will be one of the panelists. She's a curator of Caribbean art, and she curated this exhibit, Intersectionality Creole City. It opened in Washington at the Corcoran, and it traveled, and now it's traveled here to Miami, and it's at the Moore Building. And I think if you Google Diaspora Vibe, let me see.
Diaspora Vibe at Moore Center. Perfect.
Right, or Intersectionality Diaspora Art from the Creole City. It's at the Miami Design District, Moore 200, 400 Northeast 2nd Avenue, Suite 200. It will
I
be
see
here
it.
until May 31st. And
Yeah, and it looks like they're doing, it's complimentary, it looks. Tickets are not required to enter. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to post this up, this information.
Yes, yes. I feel like this is just so
Yes.
crucial because, right, we talk about, and we talk the 15 minutes before our show about tone deaf. Like, there is no excuse, for God's sakes. Look, I'm Latina, white. Like, get yourselves educated, get yourselves knowledgeable. That's why we're all here. We want to learn, we want to grow, we want to feel this art, we want to enjoy it. There's no excuse, right? This has to be, if you know, the month to really get engaged, and I'm just so happy that you're here because it's crucial. It's important. It's important for our kids. It's important for education. It's important for our community. I don't want to hear Miriam. It hurts me. It really does. Miriam talking about she doesn't see herself in Art Basel art. I mean, what is up with that? For God's sakes, like we're not doing a good. We're just not doing a good job, you know? And it starts here, and it starts with these conversations, and it starts with this museum, this incredibly inspiring museum. So get engaged, and thank you for all this knowledge and for all of this information, because I'm pumped, I'm inspired. I can't wait to show my daughter and to really keep talking about, you know, what you've created here with Miami MOCAAD. And I honor you. I just salute you, and thank you.
oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
And yes, please come back and give us, we'll have you back to give updates. And I can also give them because I plan to definitely support and get involved in any ways that you'll allow me.
Oh, I would welcome that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful way to start the weekend. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.